Now that I've been dealing publicly, been dealing with radionics, wishing machines, vampire machines, typophones for some time now, and I've dealt with hundreds of people around the world. I begin to understand a little bit about the difference and why this works, seeming exceedingly well for some people, and other people seem to be kind of lost, kind of grappling with it. Not It's not going smooth for them. It's just constantly there's a small. Not the majority, but there is a small percentage of the people that I have dealt with personally, dealing with these radionics machines, the psionics, this strange and wonderful world of radionics. And it is strange. The first thing I want to express in this is, how does it work? Uh, the two questions that are unanswerable today, we don't have the answers to, are why it works and how it works. It's still a learning curve, let's say. Will one day in the future we be able to understand this better? It's possible. Clearly, radio itself is fairly new in the human history. Um, this is new. This happened in my lifetime. That's how new this is. So we're still learning. But certain things work. That's how alchemists learned certain things. It's like, ooh, this works. Why does it work? I don't know, but it works. Just use it. And that's what we did for millennial, actually. It wasn't that we could always explain certain things away. Even in modern medicine, there's things that they learn through experimentation. They learned certain drugs that they created to treat this symptom over here had this side effect on this other issue you got over here. It wasn't planned that way, but they learned it because 500 people took this that had this other issue, and that problem got resolved. And it's the same with radionics. For anybody to come and say that they understand radionics, they don't, because we don't have a good grasp on it. But the fascinating thing, and we have to accept that, we have a basic understanding, and the basic understanding of radionics, psionics, wishing machines, vampire machines, and all the above, the basic understanding is it all is energy. It all boils down to energy. You are energy. The sun is energy. The universe is filled with energy. For millennial, God-believing people would, and still do by the billions, pray. Explain how prayer works. I close my eyes, I clasp my hand, and I telepathically send messages out to my deity, my God. And it has a profound effect on me. It has a profound effect. I've seen results from it. This is what we're told, right? You may have experienced it yourself. But you cannot really have a true understanding of why and how it works. You say, well, it's because God heard and he answered. I can say the same thing about radionics. It's because you sent your intention out, the universe received it, and the universe responded. But like prayer, which billions of people that to this day pray. Sometimes they get the answer they want, sometimes they don't. There's no sure way to ever know, is there? You try. People get on Facebook. My mother's in the hospital. She's got cancer. Please pray for her. Hundreds and hundreds of people. Prayers, thoughts and prayers. You're sending all this energy out there. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it don't. When it works, people say, thanks for your prayers, it works. When it doesn't work, people say, God's will be done. It's not that different with radionics, except we're using a tool, not just our thoughts, to manipulate energy, to send our intentions out, to get these results. A lot of people that use radionics do not maybe believe in this God. Maybe they believe in just the power of the universe and energy itself. But some people overthink it. And this is what I've learned. This is the big thing I've learned about the people that are interested in this subject. Some people overthink it, and they try to overdefine it. And see, this is where it takes away from your faith in what's happening. And the same way with, again, I'm making the analogy of religion. Because if you get too technical with trying to understand, who wrote the Bible? Where did the Bible come from? Was Jesus real? You start asking all these questions. You start digging and delving. At some point, you could lose your faith. And then it all stops working. Then you find yourself praying and trying to reach out to a God that you no longer believe in, that you can't identify. You found that you got the best results from your efforts, whether it was using the rosary, a prayer cloth, or like the Muslims 5 times a day praying to the east. That you got the best results when you didn't question too much, when you simply said, God's will be done, when you simply said, this is what I want, this is my desire. After all, aren't we all simply casting spells? Isn't that what it boils down to? My intention, I'm casting spells. And that's it. If you overthink it, there's some people that's like, they dig and they dig and they dig. It's kind of like they want to take it to a whole another level, and it doesn't ever satisfy them. They're left with a certain level of disappointment in the whole thing. They haven't given up total belief, but it's never quite there for them. What if we had this? What if we had that? Wait a minute. What if we simply add our own psyche into it? Instead of adding more components and more elements to these machines, what if we simply add more faith? What if we simply allow for the universe to work with us? Why don't we learn how to live in harmony with the universe? If you know anything about religion, it kind of falls hand in hand with the way the church teaches you, doesn't it? Don't over-question. Have faith. Let God's will be done. We hear those words constantly in church, don't we? If you have a religious background of any sort. And in doing so, you go through life and you're focusing on the more positive aspects, the more positive outcome of what's taking place. So you get your wishing machine, whichever model you got. I've had people that bought the most basic, inexpensive model of the wishing machine, the radionics box, the very basic model, no super fancy anything, basic little knobs, wiring set in there. They've had outstanding results. They've written reviews like, wow, this thing, I feel connected to it. It's powerful. Then I've had people that bought the most beefed up machine that I've ever built. And they're just never quite there. And I think it's because they don't understand how it all works together. They don't understand that part of it is here. Part of it comes from you. A lot of it has to do with you being the receptor of what is being brought to you. A lot of people have closed their eyes. They're simple, single focused. So here's my intention. I'm going to put it on the input plate. I'm going to set the frequency of these dials. Some people are impatient. Oh, I've had it there for 24 hours. Nothing's happening. Other people just, I've had people, as I started building a machine for them, and they would send me a message. I feel the energy already. And other people will get the machine and have it and play with it for a month, and I'm just not getting anything out of it. Ground yourself. Relax. Don't overthink it. Leave your mind open to the possibilities of what may come to you. There was a lady in Georgia who bought the very basic machine. I think it had a Tesla coil on it, but other than that, it was a very basic machine. People should not tell me their intentions. That should be private. It works best if you don't share your intentions with anybody. Whatever her intention was, she was impatient. It wasn't coming to fruition. She had some errands to do. She was getting frustrated because whatever her intention, whatever her wish was, just hadn't happened in a few days. She had had the machine. She shared this story with me that as she was leaving the house, she pulled out a $20 bill. She threw a $20 bill on the input plate of the wishing machine. And in frustration, she said something basically to the point of, screw it. And really what she was doing with it, screw it, as she threw that $20 bill, is she was giving up control. That very afternoon, she won $500 because she gave up control. She let the machine, as it was built for her, do its job. If you're constantly trying to manipulate it, you're manipulating and manipulating and manipulating. You're trying to control. Well, you're not allowing the universe to do anything for you. You're trying to force instead of work in harmony with the universe. You're trying to intimidate the universe to do your will. It's not going to work that way. You've got to work in harmony all the way through, because you are part of the universe. We are all in this together. We breathe the same air. We drink the same water. We live right here. And the universe, we're all a part of. And if we're trying to constantly manipulate, look where man has been in all our efforts and pursuits. Oh, we've created some awesome stuff. But what has it really done for us? We've got cars, we've got this, we've got that, we've gone to the moon, we've got guys in a space station circling the Earth, which really isn't that far out, right? We really hadn't gone anywhere. A couple of times we went to the moon, that's the furthest. On the planet, thousands of years ago, it was written by somebody. Average lifespan of man is 70, 80 years. Huh. Now we got all this stuff. The average lifespan of man is still 70, 80 years. We got all the medical technology. We can do heart transplants. We can do face transplants. We can do all this stuff. We still die. We still have miserable lives. We still have war. We still have murder. We still have rape. We still have robbery. We're good about changing our peripheral, but we're horrible about changing ourselves. We're good about raping the earth and creating all these things, but we're horrible about living in harmony with the very things that sustain this life for us. And maybe that's where a lot of people are missing in radionics and psionics and these wishing machines, is you've got to be in harmony for this to work for benefit. You've got to give up control. You've got to stop trying to be a control freak with all this. You got to say, I release this power. That's why I have this wishing machine, because I have fought and I've struggled in order to be able to get a job, get the money I need, get the whatevers. And there's roadblocks. I'm not getting there. It's not happening. Whatever. But guess what? If you simply just put the intention out there and say, I want to get this done, and I'm having a hard time doing it, so I'm turning it over to the universe. I'm putting it on this input plate, this witness plate of this wishing machine. I'm going to set the frequencies. Some just by, I think that feels good there. Some do the stick plate. Others even use a pendulum. Whatever works for you, you get the frequency set. Then you walk away from it. You clear your mind. You ground yourself. And you release. And let it happen. That has been the key to this whole thing. Stop struggling. Stop fighting. If you're going to get a wishing machine, if you're going to get into radionics, if you're going to get into psionics, that's the whole purpose, is to release that control, to allow the universe to do its thing, to allow your God to do this thing, however you want to view it, whatever labels you want to put on it. That's how it works. That's why it works. That's what I have seen in my life, and that's what I've seen in other people who have used this tool. It is that release. Okay, I tried. It's not working. Here's my intention. I printed it out on a piece of paper, wrote it down on a post-it. I put it there. I put my picture there. I set the frequencies. I moved my picture over to the output because I'm the target. That's where I want to come to. No longer in my hands. And then just keep your eyes open. Then be very open-minded, because it's not like the wishing machine you're going to go the next day and find a $100 bill sitting there. It's not going to violate the laws of nature. The opportunity is going to come to you. It could be through a phone call. It could be from a friend. It could be from a stranger. A seed will be planted to give you the opportunity to get to where you want in life. And the way it's worked for me is it's always been something presented to me that I never thought of before. That's why it never worked, because I never had the idea. One of the best ideas that came to me later in life came from somebody that I thought never had a good idea in her life. But I listened. She knew I was looking. She knew I was groping. She said, try this. I was negative about it to begin with. I thought, well, there's no harm in trying. I've tried everything else. God, it gave me a heck of a career. Still making money on it. I never thought about it. Was never an idea in my head in all my 66 years of life. Never. And way out here in left field, this friend of mine, try this, Kelsey. I thought, what? And I thought, yeah, I can do it. No harm. It's not going to cost me anything. Bam. Been nonstop for 15 years. Still going. Don't over plan how you're going to get to where you want to get to, because you don't know what's behind door number 3. You see, leave your mind open to opportunities, because the solution clearly up to this point, the reason you got the freaking wishing machine, the reason you got that is because so far nothing you've tried has worked. So the first thing you have to do is say, okay, clearly I'm missing it. I need some direction. A lot of people get the wishing machine and they still don't want to give up that control. They don't want to sit there and say, look, I don't. I've tried. I've been struggling. I've been groping to get over here and I can't get there. That's the whole purpose. To give up control is the key to this whole thing. Quit trying to overthink it and allow. And then keep your eyes open to the possibilities that's going to be presented to you. And that will be presented to you. May not be what you planned. Clearly, it'll not be what you planned or what you thought of. Because you've been trying what you thought of all along and it hadn't worked. Accept that. That's the reason you got the freaking wishing machine, right? That's the reason you prayed to your God. Because, oh boy, what I'm trying ain't working. So now that you got it, give up that control and accept the fact that I'm looking for an answer. And even though you may be skeptical of the answer, take a lesson from me. I was skeptical of the answer I got. I didn't let my skepticism prevent me from testing it. Oh, and I'm glad I tested it. What a perfect situation for an older guy. It just worked out awesomely. Took care of me extremely well. Fit me to a T. I never thought about it. If I'd never thought about it, I wouldn't have had to have it brought to me, would I? So keep it open. That's the purpose of the wishing machine. That's the purpose of radionics. That's the purpose of psionics. How does it connect to the universe? Through these coils, through these frequencies? It does. Be glad it does. And let it bring something to you instead of you trying to overthink it, overbuild it, overdesign it. The biggest lesson you're going to learn from this whole experience is giving up control. Accepting the fact that I ran across a roadblock and I don't know how to get around this roadblock. I do not have the answers. I'm seeking the answers. Be humble enough to accept when the answers are brought to you. Level your ego out. Allow it to happen. www.thewishdr.com. Let me put it down here. I've had a lot of people share some awesome experiences with me. Very awesome experiences. The people that get the best results do exactly what I've just been telling you to do. Just like the lady in Georgia. She got impatient. The intention she wanted was not happening. She copped an attitude. Screw it. The minute she gave up control that very afternoon, things happened. The proof was there. Take care.